the Nashville 2 podcast with your host, Edward Fox.
G'day, viewers and listeners. It's Ed Fox back with another amazing episode of Nashville 2. Nashville 2 is all about telling your story. If you're in Middle Tennessee and you've got a story to tell, we'd love to have you come on the show. If you know somebody that needs a story told about them, have them come on the show. I'll draw it out of them. I'm pretty good at that. Like I can draw it out. But we'd love to introduce their story to people all over the country and all over the world. And today, my special guest is Martin Plumlee. And is it Plumlee and Associates? Is that what you go by?
Plumlee and Associates. Yes, sir. Our website's just PlumleeAssociates.com. I wanted to save the money on those 3 extra letters. So just PlumleeAssociates.com.
Right. Well, hey, Martin, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
The EIC, the Entrepreneurs Program at Williamson County Schools.
That's right.
So tell me a little bit, are you originally from Middle Tennessee?
I am. I'm a native. I don't have any tattoos, but if I was going to get one, number 2 or 3 or 4 would probably be 615. I'd probably draw out the great state of Tennessee, the volunteer state, probably right in the middle, probably put 615 native.
Right.
So,
well, I love the fact I was living in Kansas for 30 years. I met a Kansas girl when she went to Australia on vacation. I always, when I became a Christian, I thought 316 was the area code for where I lived. I thought that was pretty bloody good. You know, you could have 316 for multiple reasons. And now I moved to Tennessee, so I'd have to change it to 615, but I could stick with 316. So
no, listen, John 3:16 is arguably the greatest verse of all time. And
there you go.
Without that, the promise of that verse, we're all left hanging somewhere we don't want to hang, and I'll just leave it at that. So,
and my other favorite one is Ecclesiastes 11:2. We go round and round that one. It's if you have 7 ventures, then have 8, because you never know when disaster strikes. And my wife comes back at me with, "Yeah, but it doesn't say 15." And I'm like, could be a translation issue, could be a little error, you know.
That's right.
Because I'm a real entrepreneur, right? I can't help myself. Like there is so much opportunity in America today.
That's right.
Help others.
Sure.
My big line when I meet somebody is like, how do I add value? And that's something that I see in your bio too. It's like you have a heart for people, you have a heart for stuff. So tell me a little bit about what's going on in your life, what
Sure.
you do, and what are your passions?
Yeah. Well, I'll start briefly with professionally where I spend my time, and then I'll certainly get into a little bit of my life story and really what drives my heart for service. So, I believe the good Lord crafted me to be a headhunter, right? So I'm a professional recruiter, executive recruiter, talent consultant, right? We have 5 or 6 titles flowing around the business world. I've been in professional recruiting for 2 decades and have been blessed to own and operate Plumlee Associates since 2012. And that's a story in of itself, and maybe save that for the sequel to this podcast. But no, I love, to this day, even at the tender age of 51, I still love working with companies, help them solve their talent problems. Sometimes it's a leadership gap, all those kinds of things, rapid expansion. But on the individual side, working with a man or a woman that's trying to better their career, find a better company culture, and man, just being able to make that match. And I like to use the triangle analogy. If we have any sports fans on, if you remember the Bulls of the 90s, right, they ran what they called the triangle offense. Right. I'm not a basketball guy, but I love the idea of a concept, like an equilateral triangle. And in my world, I have a client who pays our fees. I have a candidate looking to better their career. And then you have my team, my firm. And we've all got to kind of feel good about the deal. And is it ever completely perfect? No. We live in an imperfect world. But at the end of the day, man, I still want to serve companies, serve individuals, and just have some fun along the way, but do it the right way.
Exactly. People I talk to all the time, and I'm always meeting new people and saying, how can I add value to you? What adds value to you? What makes sense? You know, and they think I'm trying to sell them a product. I'm not trying to sell them a product. I just want to know, I've got thousands of connections. How can I add value to you? Who can I connect you with?
Sure.
So for you, are there particular industries as a head that you prefer to work in?
Absolutely. I'm a numbers guy. I studied economics at West Point. I've always been a numbers person. My daughter has an affinity for math, so I guess that's only one of the few positive things that came from me. But I love, we do a lot of work in banking and really community banking, commercial lending, even mortgage banking. That industry's having some tough times these days. Over the last 5 years, we've really developed a nice supply chain practice. So that's trucking, that's transportation, that's third-party logistics, that's full outsourcing logistics, known as 4PL. I have a lot of fun in that space. It's very high-paced. They love to hire military people, and certainly that's a big part of my fabric, my story. So that's a great industry for us to kind of just run in alignment together. And then a lot of work in professional services with kind of a niche focus in public accounting. So meeting bankers, meeting CPAs, just meeting talented servant leaders. I mean, all those kind of candidates, all those individuals, and certainly current and or former military. And that includes their family members, because families serve too. So I always want to connect with military, whether they're alumni or just about to end their active duty commitment. Always happy to serve and connect with those fine folks.
Right. Exactly. And so you work basically for the corporations to find the people, right?
Correct. Yes, sir.
Okay. And so if somebody's having that issue of trying to hire the right people, they should reach out to you.
Absolutely. Would love to speak with them personally. I am really the chief revenue officer, chief client officer of my firm. And so obviously our website, PlumleeAssociates.com. And I'll even throw my cell phone out there because, right, I want to be easy to get hold of. Local 615-999-4190.
999-4190. And you served. So what branch of the military?
So coming out of West Point, I was commissioned as an infantry officer. So that just means I'm a little crazy. Used to be hardcore. In my heart, I'm still hardcore. Jumping out of perfectly good airplanes, rappel out of the helicopters, things of that nature. Walk in the woods for hours and days at a time. So I served almost 6 years active duty. My main assignment was at 1st Cavalry Division, Fort Hood, Texas. The Buffalo Soldier, the 9th Cavalry Regiment traces back to the Buffalo Soldiers post-Civil War and during the Civil War. So that's pretty cool. And then I wrapped up on assignment as in operations at the Ranger School there at Fort Benning, Georgia, Columbus, Georgia. So, and then I took a 9-year break in service. Life happened, business career, all those things. Felt the call to duty, not surge, all those things going on in the world in early 2008, and raised my hand, joined the Army Reserves in late 2008. Ultimately recommissioned as a military police officer.
Oh, awesome. Well, thanks for your service. I have run into some amazing people around Middle Tennessee, and in Kansas has a McConnell Air Force Base where I live, Wichita. Just their dedication and what they've done. And then I've got a couple of friends that own franchises in the same franchise system I own that are military up in Knoxville. And we're in Charleston, South Carolina. So it's something that has always interested me on what motivates you. But that's a whole different podcast that we would go into. We don't have the hours to spend on that.
Sure.
15 minutes left. I would love to get to what are your passions now? What's driving you right now?
Well, I'll tell you this. Here locally, here in Franklin, right? I'm talking to you from Franklin.
Me too.
There is a wonderful, I call it 2 houses under 1 roof, High Hopes Development Center. Okay. You may be familiar with it. Alan Long's the executive director. My mom volunteered there years ago. She retired from the state of Tennessee in 2009, volunteered there off and on for 3, 4, 5 years. And they have a school. So basically 6-month-old newborns up through kindergarten. And then they integrate typically and atypically developing kids, put them all together in the same classroom. Beautiful, right? Not everybody is fully healthy. Not everybody has all their faculties. Right. So that's just, I believe that's the way God intended. God created all of us, and some of us come to the table with maybe a strike or two against us. And how do we overcome that? The other side of the house is it's a full spectrum clinic. Occupational therapy, physical therapy, feeding therapy. They're ultimately moving towards having behavioral therapy, which ultimately kind of weeds its way through all the other forms of therapy. But man, it is High Hopes is about 37, 38 years old. And it is a special, very special place. If you want to learn more about it, I'll put you this. I will help you coordinate a VIP tour. But Alan Long, Brandy Blanton, their director of development. Once you walk the halls and see these teachers, these kids, these therapists, if it doesn't stir your soul, there's another conversation we need to have.
Right.
It is every time I walk in there, and I've toured that place probably 10 times. Every single time I shed a tear or two. Right. It's unbelievable. To me, it's a little preview of heaven.
We need to get them on here to talk about what they're doing. That would
absolutely. That's a great idea. I think that's wonderful.
Give them the website. Folks, anybody that wants to come on the show, if they have a story to tell and we need to share that story, Nashville2.com, they can get it all done there. We're now in our 60th episode, Martin. So I'm sorry it took so long to get you on, but I'm glad.
That's okay. So, well, my friend, if I may, while I'm thinking about it, I bumped into Marcus Manise. You may know Marcus.
I know Marcus.
Stronger than my father. If you haven't had him on, please get him on. He's got a great story. He's doing great work in Antioch, working with kids all over, especially in Metro Nashville public schools. I saw him today at the chamber. I had to stop out there to get something done. And then I got one more for you. A gentleman I went to Hillwood High School with, and anybody knows Nashville, Hillwood no longer exists.
Okay.
That school's been shut down, and now it's I think it's James P. Lawson out in Bellevue. Tommy Rhodes founded Barefoot Republic.
Okay.
And for instance, the annual fundraiser for Barefoot is next month at Amy Grant's farm. Amy Grant is very intimately involved with Barefoot Republic, and it's just a beautiful picture of going after kids of all shapes and sizes, all colors, all backgrounds, and just pulling them together in community, talking about Jesus, teaching them how to live right. My kids have been through one of their satellite camps. It is awesome. I'll just say that.
Yeah,
BarefootRepublic.com.
I'd love to spread all those words. I mean, all of those people. That would be awesome. So when you're not working and you're not helping these nonprofits,
yep,
we like to do the 3 hidden gems that you like around Middle Tennessee, right?
Sure.
So what are, for those of us that are newbies here, I've been here about 3 years, love Franklin, love being so close to everything. What are some of your favorite hidden gems in Middle Tennessee?
Well, that's so tough to answer that. I'll give you 3 answers, but I mean, there's so many new places, whether it's distilleries, microbreweries, restaurants, social clubs. I will tell you this, right? The factory in Franklin is going through a reimagination, a redevelopment. That place is going to be fantastic. So I think if you don't know Honest Coffee Roasters, they're currently in the factory. They've expanded recently. Great place. Got a cool vibe. They do a great Americano. If you're like me and need extra caffeine. What's that?
Are they locally owned?
Yes, I believe they are. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
If you ever talk to the owner, I'd love to have them on to talk about a couple of locations. There's one down in Berry Farms now as well that I'm down to the other day.
Absolutely. No, that's great.
I take issue with them because I ask them all the time. I say, what sugar-free options do you have? Because I'm diabetic. And they're like, oh, we don't have any sugar-free options. I'm like, that's not true. You do. No. We mix all our own syrups. I'm like, yeah, that's fine. But don't you have Splendor or Stevia or Sweet and Low or Equal?
Yep.
Don't you have one of those? Oh, yeah, it's down the back there. So you do have sugar-free options. Well, yeah. So it's like it's that re-education of some people to go, how do I serve the customer?
That's right.
That's right. The answer, but their coffee is excellent.
Yeah. There it is.
Need any sweetener, but.
Well, I will tell you, I don't know if this is a hidden gem, but it is my favorite breakfast place in all of Middle Tennessee. And there's some good ones, right? I mean, who doesn't love a good biscuit? Loveless Cafe. My wife and I did our reception after we got married at Loveless. So that always holds a special place in my heart.
I want to know the secret of getting into Loveless Cafe and not having to wait an hour and a half.
Brother, it's called getting there early or coming in, right at the end of the lunch hour, brunch hour, whatever, right? But Jay Christopher's in Cool Springs. It's kind of tucked away. It's right near Cool Springs, not Galleria, but the movie theater. And I will tell you this, any first responders out there, police, firemen, EMT, paramedics, dispatchers, and veterans who are still serving or like me as a citizen soldier, they will give you 50, not 15, 50, half your bill off.
Wow.
So so they have great food, a super fair price, right?
Yep.
And I just tell you, every time I go in there, now on the weekends it gets busy, but during the week you can always get in. So if you want a good breakfast, not have to wait, Jay Christopher's.
Okay. I do Christopher's, and now that I know that they do that, I will go there more often just so they can help support those.
Yeah.
Tried to buy lunch for an EMS guy the other day. He wouldn't let me pay for it. So all you can do is right. So
brother, I'll give you one more, and this is of course the old Puckets and Leapers Fork, now is Fox and Lock. If you haven't been out there,
I was out there the other night.
Well, you need to go Saturday. Okay. And especially if you enjoy classic country, right? The George Straits of the world, Kenny Rogers, kind of the late 70s, early mid 80s, Merle Haggard, all that. 12 to 3, and just say, I'm here to see Smoking Joe. A friend of mine named Joe Thompson plays harmonica with a bunch of professional musicians. I mean, they've been on the road, they've recorded with big stars, and they just play old school country for 3 hours. And it's awesome. Now, I would tell you, you probably need to be there by 11:15.
That place.
Stay for an hour, have lunch, and get out of there, right?
Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Martin. And those are all great hidden gems that for people that are new to the area, like the ones that have been here all their lives, they're like, oh yeah, yeah. But for those that are new, and we get listeners outside of Nashville looking to come to the Nashville market, and you and I are in Franklin, but these days I didn't know Middle Tennessee, right? When I got here, I didn't know the term. I didn't know, it was Nashville Metro, right? Middle Tennessee, there is so much going on.
As a business owner, it can be tiring paying cash for everything you need. Well, there's a better way. Introducing Trade Bank of Nashville. Our bartering service lets you exchange goods and services without the need for cash transactions. Trade Bank helps businesses like yours reduce expenses, bring in new business, and keep your cash where you need it most. Find out more and join our barter network today. Start getting what you need without paying cash, because sometimes barter is just smarter. Apply today at nashville.tradebank.com.
It's just amazing. Martin, hey, I really appreciate you coming on the show. Can we do another episode and maybe dig into some other things that you're passionate about? That would be good.
I would be happy to. Just if I may take 30 seconds and close with this. Friends, if you know, mental wellness is we're not in the right place as a country right now. Affluency does not equal mental health, mental peace. If you have a loved one, I don't care if they're military, former cops, whatever, and they're at risk, depression, whatever their scenario is, please check on them this week, okay? Is the common stats known by many, approximately 22 veterans take their own life every day. And we've been working this issue for a decade, and some years we do a little better, but holistically, we haven't quite. There's no silver bullet, but the silver bullet to me is relations, one-on-ones. If people know you truly care about them, man, if that means you lose sleep, lose an hour of sleep. But if you help somebody save somebody's life, guess what? That will mean everything to them and their family.
Yeah, Martin, that's a great point. And we were just talking with my last podcast. I do one out of New York called The Wake Up Call with Ed and Paul. Paul was leaving right as you came on before we started recording. And one of the things Paul and I talked about is, how do we show that we care about people? How can we add value to people every single day? And it can be as simple. I was at Cool Springs Mall, and after church on a Sunday, we go to Gateway Community on Franklin Road with Alan Clark as the pastor. He's been there for like 5 years, maybe. And so we go to the mall because there's a lot of choices to eat, right? Except for Chick-fil-A, it's Sunday, but we get all the other choices. That place, that mall food court, is always so clean and so tidy and well put together. And I would imagine that the custodians or the janitors, whatever you want to call them, that keep that look, they never get compliments, right? So folks, if you're at Cool Springs Mall this week and you're sitting in the food court and somebody's wiping down the tables and lining them up, tell them what a great job they do. You'll see a smile go ear to ear. It doesn't take much to say, hey, I really appreciate the job that you do. We value it, even if you're not told all the time. Right. And I think if we can show that to other people, it's the same reason I do dad jokes, because I read an article back in 2014 of Harvard Business Review, Allison Beard, author, and she said that on average, a 3-year-old laughs like 400 times a day, a 35-year-old about 15.
Wow.
Now, I don't know if I've got those numbers right, but you get the
directionally, sure.
Yeah. So I love telling dad jokes, and sometimes I'm not everybody's cup of tea, right? But I was thinking about it when you said that you're a headhunter. The first thing that comes to my mind is the two cannibals that were eating the clown. One turns to the other and says, "Does this taste funny to you?" So those are the sort of things that I do. But we don't laugh enough. We take ourselves way too seriously.
Yeah. That's right.
Now, that's not to say if I'm a mortician, I'm not going to be cracking jokes at the funeral house, right?
That's right. That's right.
But we need to lighten up. The grace that we give ourselves, we need to give to other people.
Amen.
And I had a friend that said to me yesterday, and I never heard this. We always heard that the glass is half empty or half full. Are you a glass half full or a glass half empty person? And this guy said, you know what? You know what I've learned in my 50 years? The glass is refillable.
I've heard that from a few people. I like that.
I hadn't ever heard that, or I hadn't paid attention to it.
Yeah.
And so true. That's what you're talking about. If somebody's glass is empty, you can take some of your positivity and you can pour it into their glass, because you're going to be able to refill your glass. It's not a scarcity mindset that we need. It's an abundant mindset that we can abundantly bless people just with a friendly greeting, a smile, a thank you, hey, how can I add value to you today? Just calling in on you and checking in.
That's right.
Send a message through Facebook or WhatsApp or texting. Doesn't matter. Just say, hey, bud, thinking of you. Of how's things going?
Yep. Listen, to me, when somebody that you care about, and I'll give you like a current story. I was thinking about an Army buddy of mine yesterday. We used to work together at Johnson & Johnson, and I was having a brain block. I couldn't remember his last name. I was going to go do a LinkedIn search and find him. This dude texted me this morning.
Right.
So my friend I mentioned had brain surgery yesterday. He knows my buddy Mike.
Okay.
And you just go, listen, I saw Mike on Sunday. Surgery was yesterday. We're talking. He goes, hey, man, there's a Bible verse. You're talking about like spirit of courage and all that. No fear. I said, now listen, Timothy, let me go find it. I had brought him my soldier's Bible. I found the verse. It was underlined. Guess what? My devotional from yesterday passage was 2 Timothy 1:7. You tell me, God is good, man. Unbelievable. I took a picture of the devotional, sent it to a significant other. She goes, Martin, you can't, God's everywhere. He wants the best for you.
Yeah.
There's a guy downstairs, right, called the devil that wants the worst for you. He wants to destroy you and your loved ones, your life, your career. So and if he's not in the middle of that, he wants to distract you, because that keeps you from doing the good work and the good things and loving well.
Exactly. So I'm a member of the Tennessee Christian Chamber of Commerce, and I run a virtual networking group Friday mornings at 10 a.m. Central Time.
Yeah.
On Zoom. You can go to TennesseeChristianChamber.org, folks. Yeah. But you're so right. So I look up a little devotional to talk about. And so we started having a conversation before I got to the devotional. And the devotional that pops up relates directly. The first devotional, I just went to the Bible app and pulled up the devotional for the day. It related exactly to what we were just saying our struggle was. God is amazing. And I know this isn't a Christian podcast, but I'm a Christian. I'm not going to be, I'm not going to apologize for that. You can take the lessons we can learn from the Bible, whether you're a Christian or not, and you can apply them to your life, and it's going to make your life better. It's that simple. I always remember before I was a Christian as a kid, my grandmother or somebody had the footprints thing, footprints
in the sand. Sure.
Exactly. And I always thought, oh, that's pretty cool. Like, I can apply that he's always with me. And I'm not a Christian at the time. And then when I had open heart surgery and I am a Christian, I have this peace that goes, you know what? If I don't wake up from this surgery, it doesn't matter.
That's right.
It doesn't matter.
Eternal upgrade.
Yeah, exactly. Awesome, man. Maybe we need to do a podcast just about that, and we could talk about our faith and miracles that happen every single day. I am married to the most wonderful wife in the world and have been for 33 and a half years. She when we first met in Australia, one of the things over dinner, she said for her, divorce wasn't an option, murder maybe. And I always thought that was laughable.
Looks like she's never acted upon that, so that's good. Good to see you.
She's a pharmacist. She could give me whatever pill she needs.
A cocktail, that's right.
Exactly. But I asked her about a year ago, I said, did you make up that quote? And she said, no, Ruth Graham was on a radio interview and she was asked if she ever thought about divorce. And she said, divorce, no. Murder, maybe. Yes. And I thought, if Ruth Graham can crack that joke, then it's okay for me.
That's pretty solid. Solid.
Hey, Martin, great to have you on the show.
God bless you, sir. Appreciate your time. Thanks for being out there and telling people stories. And I look forward to the next time.
Awesome, man. Have a great day. Thank you.
Be blessed. Thanks, sir. Bye-bye.
This is the Nashville 2 podcast with your host, Edward Fox.